So my role is community link worker for the city, and within Oxfordshire there's 4 areas, and each of those areas will have a series of community link workers. So how it works for us is that we get referrals. They can either come from, most of mine come from the hospital, to be honest, because we also have a presence in the hospital. So I'll spend 1 day a week in the JR, and we also cover the Horton in Banbury, going around talking to people. So some referrals are generated from the hospital. That's where most of them come from. Some come from GPs. Individuals can phone up the helpline and refer themselves. And then what happens is, as part of the city community network team, I'll get those referrals in, and then it's my responsibility to try and sort out try and help people with what they need, the support they need. So that can be all sorts of things. Quite often, if it's people coming out of hospital and they're less mobile, they maybe might be worried about doing their shopping or doing their cleaning or doing their gardening. So they might need a bit of short-term help, or people's care needs can have changed completely, and they might need somebody on a more permanent basis to do those things. Some people are worried about their financial situation, so we can put them in touch with people who can look at their benefits. And the other side of things, so there's sort of the practical side of things, and then there's also the more social side of things. So a lot of people are maybe coming out of hospital, or maybe have been at home for a while but lost, especially due to COVID, lost some of their social connections, and are at home on their own. So we can put them in touch with social groups like yours, for example, and also if people are struggling with actually physically getting to places, or struggling with confidence to get to places, then we can provide a short-term volunteer to take people, hopefully to get them over that hump. And then once they're there and in the group, they'll be building those social connections themselves. So that is generally what we do, roughly, in a nutshell. Within the city, there are 3 of us at the moment. One of whom is quite new. So there's well, and I'm quite new. I only started in May, and the other lady started, I think, in March or April. So it's quite a new team. So we're all sort of slightly learning on the job, but there are lots of other more experienced people who are sort of helping us out with things that we don't know. There's always someone who we can ask. So I haven't been out. I was saying to David before, I've done a few home visits to people. That's the other things we do. If people can't manage over the phone, I will go and do a home visit and talk them through what they might need and what we can offer. I've done a few of those, but I haven't actually visited any social groups in the city as yet, because they weren't up and running when I started. It was all sort of on Zoom, but that's something I'm hoping that I can do, is to get out and actually meet people in person. And then it's more of I can give people, you know, more of an idea of what's available in their particular area. So yeah, do you have any questions based on that?
Sort of if somebody need a care or something, that in that basis you can organize that. Is that right?
Well, what we can do is we don't provide carers, but we can give people information on where they can find that. We're also not allowed to recommend people, because it has to be someone's individual choice. but we can send information on, you know, people that we've used before, and just let people know how much that's going to cost, you know, if there's a minimum amount of time that they need to employ people for, you know, or if people are moving further, then we can provide information on care homes, you know, people pointing people in the right direction for that and how that might be funded.
All right. So in that basis, if people usually mean tested, if it's necessary for those work with the carer or those things, is that right?
For care homes, yeah. What some people don't. Some people are missing out on things like attendance allowance. So if you get attendance allowance, you know, if you're needing support with various things in your home, then you could be eligible for attendance allowance, and you can use that attendance allowance for whatever you want. So I've had a few people who didn't know they were entitled to that. They then became entitled to that, got the money, and then they employed somebody just to come in. You know, it can be once a week or it can be a couple of times a week, to help with, you know, either heavy cleaning or just companionship, just someone to come and take them out.
All right, okay. No,
but that attendance allowance is not means tested. So
right.
It's not that's not dependent on how much money savings or how much money you have, and you can spend it on whatever you want.
Roughly how much is that, Lynn? Do you know? The attendance.
Well, there's two rates, and I think it's something like £85 a week is the lower rate, and 80 is the higher.
All right, okay.
So you have to be over 65,
mm-hmm.
And you have to you know, fill out a sort of questionnaire, and you have to have needed that support for 6 months.
All right, okay.
You don't have to be receiving the support, but you
mm-hmm.
have to have needed it, if you see what I mean. So the questionnaire says, you know, tick a box, you need help with personal care, or you need help with you know, cooking meals, for example, and you've needed that support for 6 months. So those are the criteria.
Therefore, they assess you if you need the assistance, so you know, because you cannot go and say, yeah, I need it, without assessing you that you require the assistance in that basis.
Do you mean, do they come out and assess you?
Yeah.
Sometimes, but not always, I think.
Right. You know, because like me sitting over here,
Yeah.
say, yeah, somebody can come and cook my food, but at least, you know, I can't do it. But
yes,
I sit and say,
yes, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, I think, yes, I don't know. That's a good question.
To come and assess the policy, actually, I need the assistance or no, because in that basis, if not, everybody will be say, oh, I can see somebody can't cook for me.
That's true. Yes, I don't know how they work out how, but I should find that out.
Right, okay. Yeah, because in our group, possibly there are a number of people actually possibly need assistance or help with those things. In that cases, get to know where to go and who to approach first, and that yourself, like, I mean, that's just get together here. But hopefully, with the recording save, it can show some people.
Yes, absolutely.
Do any of the other services from AgeUK help? I mean, I noticed you've got on your website a lot of different services, but they won't all come down to the city team, obviously.
What sort of services are you?
Well, I was thinking dementia is one of the things that some people are dealing with. You've mentioned some of the home support stuff and carers, and there's even, I don't know if they still run home share.
Yeah, you know, all of those actually. I should have mentioned. So we can refer. I can refer people on to those. So Dementia Oxfordshire, I can refer to. Carers Oxfordshire, if people are actually in a caring role, they can offer advice on that. We also have the home share. We also have a sort of branch called home support options, which are like the sort of what I'd call the home help role. So it's a paid for service, but the same, you can pay somebody for hourly support, however much you want to do things like shopping, cleaning, cooking, you know. And phone friends is a phone befriending service, which is also part of AgeUK, which I can refer to. But also sometimes, if it's appropriate, I will refer people on to external services. So a sort of like care respite service. So if somebody's caring for somebody in the home, but they, you know, want a break, want to get out themselves, then carers respite can provide a volunteer to sit with the person who's being cared for a bit. You know, there are other befriending services that I can refer to, or Late Spring is another service within AgeUK Oxfordshire, which is specifically for people who've been bereaved. So they offer, at the moment, there are online Zoom groups, but normally, in normal circumstances, they're actually face-to-face groups. And there's also a walking group, so people can walk and talk with other people who might be in similar situation to themselves.
Lynn, where are you based in? Are you based in Oxford, or where
Myself?
No, the office, or do you have an office, or sort of the contact?
The office for the whole of Oxfordshire is in Abingdon.
All right, okay.
But I am based from home.
All right, okay.
And I'm in Wolvercote.
Okay, the way that base, you have a contact details, sort of David has to be able to distribute to people if it's necessary.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, good.
Have you got many volunteers working for you at the moment, and what sort of things are they doing, or will they help with?
Well, at the moment, because everything's gone online, the volunteers we have quite a lot of, all the phone friends are volunteers, so they get matched with somebody and then the phone the same person every week for a phone call, which is has been very busy, popular during COVID. Again, under normal times, we have other volunteers who, the project is called My Community Link, and it will, volunteers are matched with an individual for a short sort of normally 6 to 8 weeks piece of work, and it's to get people out again and back to doing what they were doing before. So, you know, if people have lost their confidence and want to go to social groups, then they can do that, and the volunteer will go with them for 6 to 8 weeks, or shopping, or getting back on the bus, or, you know, any of those things. And also previously there were volunteers helping out at the AgeUK groups that were run, and on the walks and things like that. Now how the groups are going to work going forward, I don't know, because everything's still on hold, and I think they're taking this opportunity to sort of rethink how it's going to work going forward, and what face-to-face groups there are going to be.
Right.
I think along the lines of once things, because obviously, you know, you've restarted, and there are some other groups in different bits of the city definitely that have restarted, and some that haven't, and some that might not. So I think the thinking is that when we see the lie of the land and where there are groups and where there aren't groups, maybe where in areas of the city where there aren't groups, then AgeUK could provide a face-to-face group.
Right.
Regarding the health dosing, does AgeUK get involved with that, or no? Sort of organizing a group of the elderly dosing to get together and have a small dosing, or you don't get involved with those type of activities?
Yes, yeah. Well, there's quite a few actual health walks. So I have referred people to the Oxfordshire Active health walks, which are run, on different days in the week from different parts of the city. AgeUK do its own as well around the city, and also I've also referred people to the Oxford tours, the tours of the city. I don't know if you know about them. They're free and they're run by a guide. One of the Oxfordshire guides, which I've actually have done. That's one of the things I have done, and it was brilliant. I loved it. So you get a tour of the city, and then people generally go for a coffee in the cafe.
That will be very interesting if we know the detail of that, sort of in that basis.
Yeah,
when it is or whatever is, I don't mind joining and go for a tour of the city.
Yeah, no, it would be well. We have actually. I don't know if you've seen. 1 second, if I can get my. Everything's falling off my thing. I don't know if you've seen this.
Do you
No,
have that?
No,
I don't have it.
You don't have it. Okay, so this is basically everything that AgeUK does, and then some other things that we can refer on to. So this has all the things in it about volunteering, and as you were saying, how people can volunteer. Hold on a minute.
is it on the website? Is it all that sort of information, presumably?
And walks and everything. Well, this is a new thing that's got it all in one place.
Oh, right, okay.
But what I could do is drop some off to you.
Right.
I have a bootload.
Oh.
So that people can take. So it's got generation games. So it's got our exercise thing. I know you do your own. Step into Oxford is the guided walks. With all the phone numbers that you can phone to get more information. We also have a tech buddy service, which is like the equivalent, David, you were saying, of your IT support.
Yes, I was going to ask. Sorry, Anne. Carry on.
I was just saying, does that support people who are at their homes who can't get out, who need support at all?
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah, they go. Someone will go to somebody's home. Yeah, so that's something else that's AgeUK run, and they go out to people's homes, and they can also provide mobile phones if people don't have them. Oh. We have some mobile phones that we can give out, but also they can go and set the phones up, the sort of things you were talking about, David. Setting people up with email, setting people up with online shopping, setting up answer machine messages, all of that sort of thing. But they will actually go to your home, yes.
Sorting out their Wi-Fi and stuff like that if it doesn't work, and their printers is the other thing.
Yeah, all sorts of things. I referred somebody the other day because some lady that she did have 2 televisions actually, but her husband was coming home from hospital, and they like to watch different things, and their sort of spare television, all of the, and all the channels changed. So
Yeah.
everything's now completely out of order, and the ones she wants are all blurry. So she was going, he's coming home and I can't watch what he watches. So yeah, so I've referred her onto, and they're going to go out and hopefully sort out her television. So it's all things tech, basically.
That's very useful.